Welcome to the Weekend Warriors podcast. We started with Game of Thrones. We're going to end with Game of Thrones. That's how I say it here. So I was thinking about ways I could do this podcast today. I was going to go maybe like full Owen Wilson from Wedding Crashers. Like just completely go off the deep end after my loss and just be like, I'm not picking on love because I don't believe friendship exists either. Or I could go classic Adam Sandler from The Wedding Singer and just kind of, I have the microphone and you don't, so you will listen to everything I have to say. Yes, I wish I would have won, but last week, tip of the cap to Brett, tip of the cap to Jake. They moved on. Jake beat my brother-in-law Kevin. Brett beat me. Neither one of us put up a particularly good battle. And I will say, I think for the first time in a long time, because usually this doesn't happen, but I think the two best teams have made it to the finals. So sometimes, luckily you sneak in and you scratch and claw and you make your way in. But this is going to be a battle. These two teams have been at the top of the standings for pretty much most of the season. And I joke around because at one point in the year I was like, Jake's not the best team, but Brett's right there. And they're right there. And I kept doing that, and it was like probably about October maybe, or when that was happening, and here they are in the final. So congratulations, winner will reel in 600 big ones. Second place will reel in 300 big ones. There might be some change to throw in there. I still got to count the envelope from what's left over from the draft, what's left over from the trophy. But this is the one league, and I don't know if you guys agree, but the one league where money really doesn't matter. It's all about bragging rights for me at least. It's enough money to keep it interesting, but man, it's fun to be crowned champion. I wouldn't know, but something Jake is trying to do, me and my dad haven't been able to do in 13 years. Jake's second year in the league is trying to be the first Harding to win it. Rooting for him to do that. Brett's first appearance in the final. So the way we're going to do this is I'm going to have a two-part episode this week. There's not much to talk about from the matchup standpoint. I mean, it's mano y mano. My predictions, I'm 44-28 on the season, so I look at that as a success. Of course, 1-1 last week. Predicted Brett to win, he won. Predicted Jake to win, he won. Predicted me to beat Brett. That was a failure. So, two-part episode. It is about 7 o'clock here on Thursday. No Thursday night football. This gives me a little bit of time. So let's play a little game called Meet the Opponents. Meet the competitors. So I'm going to spin this around for a second, and I'm going to bring in my first competitor, Brett Hendricks. Brett?
Hey.
How you doing, buddy?
I'm good, man.
How
are you?
You look great. You had good episode in the hair and makeup. So
absolutely. All credit to my stylist.
I like it. So gonna put a little interview together. So I was thinking this is gonna kind of be like Miss America. This is the interview question. Whoever wins the interview part gets an extra 5 points. Then tomorrow we're gonna do a bake contest. So whoever makes the best baked good gets another extra 5 points. You can start off with a 10-point lead. Wouldn't it be great if I actually did that?
That'd be fantastic. If nothing else, you should be the tiebreaker. Because I can make a hell of a baked good.
I like it. All right, so couple questions for you, Brett. It's your first time on the podcast. I know you're a long-time listener. This is the first time phoning in. So you made it this far. It's tough to do that in this league. I think I know the answer, but I'm going to ask you anyway. You know your team better than anybody. Who is your fantasy MVP so far?
You know it's got to be Pat Mahomes. 13th round pick, Pat Mahomes. I was deciding between him and Dak Prescott at that pick. Your cousin was really pushing me to take Dak, but I just had a feeling on Pat Mahomes. Pairing him with Tyreek Hill, he's been an absolute freaking stud. That guy's been money. He's been so money that I haven't been able to play Andrew Luck. And Andrew Luck's been fine this year, and he's been a complete afterthought. So, Pat Mahomes, 100%.
Yep, I would agree. That's the answer I would have given. Your opponent, I'm looking at the matchup. I'm seeing some tough players, obviously, on his team, too. On his team, on Jake's team, what's the guy who scares you this week, whether it be the matchup or just the player overall?
I mean, two big ones obviously jump out. Like, Saquon is Saquon. That dude, at a minimum, like last week was an anomaly, which I'm scared of. Like, he's 20-point minimum. But most of all, matchup-based, DeAndre Hopkins against the Eagles. You want to talk about night terrors? That's tough.
I hear you. I hear you.
I gotta hope Cravon LeBlanc plays the damn game of his life.
I don't know who that is, and I know a lot of guys, so I'll give you credit. You are reading up, my friend. So, next question. I know you had a good draft. You just talked about the 13th round pick with Mahomes. He'll obviously be higher this coming year. Obviously, Tyreek Hill, 3rd round. He'll probably be higher this year coming up as well. If you could rewind to draft day, is there something you would change?
Yeah, I probably would have added another Kansas City Chief to my team. I took Derrick Henry in the 4th round, cut his ass. I mean, granted, he's good now, but he was horrible to start the year. And 2 picks after him, Travis Kelce went. And considering I'm still rolling out David Njoku at tight end, yeah, it would have been nice to be able to just trot out Travis Kelce with the rest of my Chiefs onslaught.
Okay, that's a fair point. All right, so this is more of a kind of FU to the rest of the league, if you will. They probably like, oh, well, I don't need to learn from Brett. What does he know more than I do? But Pearson, Otley, maybe even my dad, especially Chris T., they might need some notes from you. So you might not want to reveal all your secrets, but one tip. What's one tip you could give somebody to say, hey, you might be sitting where I am next season if you do this?
Get lucky.
Yeah.
Honest to God, just get lucky.
Yeah.
Every year I feel like I draft a good team. People get hurt. You pick up the right guys. You don't pick up the right guys. It really, I mean, granted, you can be smart with some pickups. There are definitely some good draft picks you can make, but Pat Mahomes, I wouldn't have drafted Pat Mahomes in the 13th round if I thought he was going to be a superstar. I would have drafted him earlier. It's just, a lot of it's dumb luck.
Yeah.
There's no advice to you people.
Yeah, dumb luck and no injuries. That's pretty much the 2 things I would say. So
welcome to fantasy.
Yeah. All right. So listen, who is going to win this week? I always predict myself to win. This is your chance to be me for one prediction. Who's going to win this week and why?
I'm going to win. I'm going to start off by saying that.
Okay.
Jake's team's been good, consistent. You know, he's got a good team. Jake's got a good squad. He's not rolling out Curtis Samuel against me. He's not rolling out Kenneth Dixon against me. He's got actual real players on his team. His team's been nice and consistent. But you've been talking about my team all year. You've talked about firepower. That's what my team's got, and I feel a huge week coming. So Jake's consistent team will be fine, but it's not going to match up with the firepower my team's got, and it's going to unleash this week.
All right, I like it. So before I let you go, there's been some people on this show, when I bring them on, they tread very lightly when they give words to their opponent. What do you got to say to Jake?
Jake, good luck, but as they used to say at the Baldwin house, you're going to...
I like it.
You're going to...
I like it a lot.
You're going to...
All right, Brett, listen. Merry Christmas to you. Merry Christmas to the league. Part 2 of this story will be coming out probably today, maybe tomorrow, and good luck in the finals.
Thanks, man. Have a good Christmas, and hopefully I'm a little bit richer afterward.
All right. Everybody say goodbye to Brett. Commish out.